Guys, E21 Sammy here. How's it going? So, I want to say first of all, thank you to everybody who is subscribed and watching. I recently broke 1,000 views. I think I've been running my vlog now for 6 weeks. I got about 20 videos up. This is my 20th video. And big thank you to everyone who watches and subscribes. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I'd greatly appreciate it. I'm actually trying to make it to the 4,000 hours and 1,000 subscribers. I've got some plans in the works for the next couple of months to do some collaboration videos with some famous vloggers to increase my subscriber base and my attractiveness to people. I've got some friends helping me out with that. So it's been a really crazy busy couple of weeks getting ready for Halloween. Today is the 25th, Thursday night. This will go up tomorrow. Be ready on Monday. Probably Monday or Tuesday I'll put up the weekend's videos. I'm going to be taking a lot of pictures and videos. So check out my Facebook for pictures. My Facebook, my Instagram, E21 Sammy, and check up here on Monday for the Halloween video. It's going to be insane. I've got 3 different costumes. One tonight, I got my makeup artist coming in about a half an hour to do that. Friday, I'll have a different costume. Again, makeup artist. That'll take a couple of hours. And Saturday night, 4.5 hours of makeup. I'll be sitting in the chair getting that taken care of. So it's going to be insane. Sticking with the Egyptian theme for Saturday. No guest list on Saturday, so you can't get on my guest list, unfortunately. Special event. So today's vlog is all about driving in Korea. How to drive here. Number 1, don't drive here. Don't drive. The traffic is insane. The driving is insane. Just take public transit. Take the subway. Take the subway. And if you need to drive, take a taxi or an Uber. Just don't. It's just not right. Some of the problems with driving here is that it goes back to the police. That there is no police. What do I mean by that? The police don't really enforce the traffic laws unless it's very blatant, like really. And when they have like blitzes. I've been stopped once when I crossed the double yellow line on my motorcycle. I do it all the time, but they were doing a blitz and I got caught. So yeah. So, you know, the police don't really enforce the rules, so the drivers tend to push the limits. Also, it goes back to Korean culture and Korean society. Korea became a modern country within 1 generation, within 20 years. So you have people who have never seen a car or driven a car, all of a sudden driving a car, and they didn't grow. And they didn't grow up with driving. Sorry, people texting me. They didn't grow up driving, seeing their parents how to drive and the rules, etc. So they just all of a sudden these 30, 40, 50-year-old people are driving. So they have a very like pali culture, like fast. So my friend described it perfectly, saying that driving in Korea is like Tetris. If there's a spot open, you're going in it. There's not a lot of lane discipline. People will drift left, drift right. Not as much as India or, you know, Southeast nations. It's just that they don't use signals. They will cross 2 lanes of traffic to make a left turn or a right turn. Speaking of right turns are very difficult. It's difficult for the people to gauge the size of their car. So they make very wide right turns. Also, they don't make right turns on reds because they don't know if the oncoming traffic is going to stay in their lane. Because again, goes back, people don't stay in their lanes. They don't signal. Stop signs are optional. Traffic lights, people don't My greatest fear is when I proceed on a green light that somebody's running the red light. When I'm driving down the street, that somebody will not stop at a stop sign at a T intersection and drive right through. Luckily, I've never been in an accident because I know these things. I'm watching for them. I don't drive in people's blind spots. I pay attention to everything around me and the cars ahead of me. Another situation is that the cars here, there's no tinting law. So the tint is very dark and you cannot see the car in front of the car that you are following. So basically what happens is in Canada, I would look at the car in front of the car I'm following. So what that car was doing, the car in front of me would obviously do. So I was prepared. Here they don't. So there's a lot of rear ending. The other thing is that the street signs and traffic directionals are not prominent. So people using GPS. So at the last minute, they'll make a left or right turn because the GPS told them to. Speeding, you know, it's just, Korea has the highest death rate from traffic accidents in the OKED, developed nations. And that's because seatbelt laws, I watch all the time. Kids running around the back of a car with no seatbelt. I just shake my head. You know, only last month did it become law that you must wear a seatbelt in the back seat. But having a kid running around, I don't understand it. The other thing I find which pisses me off is taxi drivers. You know, every country, taxi drivers are the worst drivers because they're out hustling for business. I totally get it. But here, taxi drivers take advantage. They disconnect in the fuse box their brake lights. So only the center brake light works. I thought in the beginning when I was driving and I saw this, I thought, oh, your brake light's out. And I would tell them and they'd be like, oh, okay. And I told a friend about it. Why do I see so many taxis with their brake lights out? And he says, oh, because they're trying to scam insurance. So if they get hit in Korean insurance law, even if your brakes are faulty, brake lights are faulty, it's the hitting driver's car's fault. So the taxi driver will get an insurance payout and break from work. So that's what they do. They do it on purpose. I've asked a police officer this and I said, if that car I hit has no brake lights, whose fault is it? He says, 80% your fault. I'm like, is that right? He says, nope, but that's the law. And I'm like, okay then. I never follow too closely. I'm always watching for brake lights. I'm always watching for cars coming in from the left or from the right. Cars drifting. When the roads merge, I'm always watching for cars cutting across 3 lanes. It just blows my mind how sometimes, you know, the way people drive here. So if you do want to drive here, there's 2 ways to do it. The first of all, you bring your valid driver's license from your home country and you go to the DMV here and you exchange it for an international driver's license, permit, whatever. That's valid for 1 year. At the end of that year, you have to get a Korean license. You cannot renew. To get a Korean driver's license, well, I got a motorcycle license. I don't have a driver's license. I have a motorcycle license. It's a little bit more complex. But a driver's license, basically, you go to the DMV, you take a test. It's in English. You take the written test. Then you go for the practical test, and you get your learner's permit. Then you have to have a Korean driver give you 10 hours, sign for you for 10 hours of driving. Then you go for another test, road test, and you get your full license. You have to have insurance, obviously, and then you can drive in Korea. I have a motorcycle license. That took a little bit different. I had to take a written test, again, in English. It wasn't very easy because it was ambiguous, because the translation wasn't correct. So I had to take that computer test, multiple choice. Then I had to do a road test at the DMV site. And it is one of the hardest road tests that there is. 90% of the people fail the first time they've taken it. I was there. Now, I had driven for 4 years prior, 2 years prior. And I had been practicing and practicing and practicing the test. It is, the first thing is a 45-degree left turn and a 45-degree right turn, followed by an S, a straight line, another S, and then a stop. it's those 45-degree turns. You cannot put your foot down and you cannot cross the line. People don't know how to do it. I practiced for months doing that, and I passed on my first try. And everyone was amazed that a foreigner passed on their first time. Well, passed. In my group of 30, only me and one other guy passed, and it was his third time doing the test. So I was lucky. I passed it on my first test. Yeah, driving here, the traffic is just, you just don't want to get into traffic. Like for me to go from here, Itaewon, to Sadang Station, where I work, where I have a meeting 3 times a week, by subway, or by subway, it would take me 40 minutes because I have to change subways. By motorcycle, it takes me 20 minutes, under 20 minutes. I'm gonna say it's, yeah, actually I don't know the distance. I'm gonna say 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers. But the problem is from Izu Station, just south of the river, to Sadang Station, the traffic is back to back to bumper to bumper. And it just was insane. Today I went and there was a car accident, a small fender bender. And here in Korea, they don't move off to the side. They stay where they are until the insurance company comes. Right? They don't call the police, they call the insurance company. And it was 2 cars driving like this. One car had gone like this and this car had come and scratched like that. So they ended up like this and they were blocking 2 lanes. And it was a 4-lane road. So you have 4 lanes of cars trying to squeeze into 2 lanes around. And it was backed up 4 miles. And if you're driving in that, what are you gonna do? And highways are crazy here. It just, normally a 4-hour drive to the southern city on the weekends or on the holidays is 8 to 12 hours because of traffic. I'm lucky that when I go outside of Seoul to jobs, I take the express buses, which have their own private lane. But even when those lane ends, it's like traffic. It's just, yeah. I will not work north of Itaewon in the, like say the Seoul City Hall area or Jongok or that area up there, because the traffic in Myeongdong is just, forget about it. You cannot drive in that area because of Namsan, because of the Namsan mountain. The roads around are just, there's only 2 roads, the tunnels and then the roads around, and they're just blocked. So, because everybody has to take only one of 4 roads to get from the north side to the south side. So it's very difficult. Yeah, other than that, I would never really drive in this country. And it's also very difficult to get a rental unless you have an international driver's permit and a credit card. You're not going to drive. But on the flip side, the transportation system here is phenomenal. I've never had a reason to drive. I need a motorcycle to get short distances. Point A, point B, where taking a bus or a taxi or anything is not economical, it's not worth it. Like for example, for me to go to the bus stop, for me to take the bus to the next city, by bus would take me 20 minutes. By motorcycle, 7. But I save myself 15 minutes right there, It's just so much easier, so much more convenient, point to point. So basically, transportation here, you're going to take public transit. The subways are more than effective. And then the buses, intercity buses, or even the KTX bullet train, if you want to go to outside of the city. Phenomenal and cheap. So yeah, don't drive in Korea. There's no reason for you to drive. Public transit is all in English. There are apps that'll help you get from point A to point B. Using Google, you just put in the location you want to go to and it'll give you the buses, the subway, the bus stop, and then you use the bus apps. It'll tell you what time the bus arrives and how many seats there are on the bus. It's incredible. It's just, you couldn't plan your trip more precisely to the second of when to arrive at the bus stop or when to arrive at the subway station. If you want to cut out all the waiting time, it's beautiful. So that's my story here today. I want to thank again everybody. Please subscribe, like, comment, and leave a comment as to what you want to see next, what you want to hear. Stay tuned. Coming soon this week. My next video will be my Halloween special. You will see the insanity that is Halloween at in Itaewon. You don't want to miss it, okay? Talk to you everyone later. Itaewon Semi, out.